Crazy Shepherd.
Hello? Yeah,
no. You saw her.
No, I just got off work.
She was at the pentathlon.
No, I decided to go to the grocery store before I got home.
She was late math school.
But the thing is, every time I head over to Woodlands, I get like 5 things, maybe 10, and every time I stand in line in the grocery store, there's always like 8 people with carts that are heaping over with stuff, and I'm having to stand in line behind these people before I get my groceries. So yeah, I'm doing that on my way home after work. Yeah. Well, no, it pays the bills. No, it doesn't. Actually, I have to make enough money to pay the bills. It's obviously, it's just a part-time job. Actually, have you ever seen Iron Chef? It's a Japanese thing where they're doing all these acrobat things. They had Iron Chef America because they wanted to be able to see if there's an American that could actually do that stuff.
Right.
Well, yeah, they were showing this whole thing of people trying to do it, which of course nobody was able to actually complete it. But one man that was competing for the American Ninja Order at one point said that he was so poor that he lived out of his car. Yeah, that's what I thought. Wow, you have a car. What is the definition of poor poverty, right? In America, I mean, come on. You know, no. Well, no, I mean, I know it doesn't make a lot of money. But, you know, it's something, and yeah, the thing on the job, I'm supposed to actually stand and talking to people for like 4 hours in a shift. They'll stop you after 4 hours. Yeah, I know that this stuff for the presidential, yeah, and I know Guantanimo Bay, which is still open. I know at Guantanamo Bay they consider standing for 4 hours torture. Yeah, I know. Well, I guess. Well, I get paid for it. I guess it, you know, I guess the torture does pay, right? Yeah. But the thing is, I'm standing there, and people come up and talk to me. You know, that has nothing to do with what I'm supposed to be doing for my job. I mean, how do you respond to somebody that calls you a tall drink of water? I mean, I'm just trying to do my job. No, I know. No, and I have no intention of quenching anybody's thirst. No kidding. And there was this one guy, this one man comes to where I work like once every week or so, and at least for the past 3 times, he's talked to me for like 40 minutes while I'm trying to do my job. Yeah, I know I have work to do. And even if I didn't have work to do, I'd rather tuck my hair behind my ears repeatedly or play with my fingernails, stuff at my cuticles instead of actually talk to them. No, please. Let me tell you something about this man. And yes, trust me, he has told me this story repeatedly. This man is 66 years old. He worked 2 jobs and made a ton of money. And if the economy wasn't so sucky, his house might be worth $3.5 million again. And it has 2 jacuzzis, one inside, outside. I think he's got a pool table. And he had 3 wives, but he divorced them all because they all cheated on him. I wonder why. Well, anyway, he has 2 daughters, and he tells me that they're good looking. But they're still both single after they turned 40, so he helped them each pay for their own house. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then he told me more than once that he wished that any of his wives would have given him a son. I mean, he loves his girls, he tells me, but why couldn't they give him at least 1 son? I mean, like a few would have been better, but if only could have had at least 1 son. Yeah. He told me that, and repeatedly while I'm working. No, I'm sorry. I thought I'd have to tell you that before he comes to me again and tells me about all the money he has and what a good guy he is before he relays me all of his desires for actually having a son. I know. And you know, men used to shoot the deer, hunt the game, and now they can't even find anything in the fridge, right? What do you guys? Yeah, I'm sitting here in line for the grocery store. What are you guys doing for dinner? Red beans. Hey, you know what? They used to call that Moros y Christianos in Ecuador. Actually, it's just Moros in the Dominican Republic. what does that mean? Moros y Christianos means Moors, the Muslims in Spain, and Christians. You know, because they thought all the Christians were white men. That's why they decided to call them red beans and rice. Is that not a riot? I know. No, I never, no. You know, after I get this stuff, I'm probably just going to grab something, I don't know, Subway or something before I head to my open mic tonight.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm getting to the end. You hang in there. Oh, they're paying with a check. All right, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all for coming in. Thank you. Not clapping for me.
Noise for 100 people.
Yay! Because we're all worth more than 100, I swear.
That's right.
That's dead serious. I won't talk about our phenomenal feature until a little later on with more of a crush showing up, but I know that I've got issues of CC&D and Down in the Dirt to read off of, but I think I'm going to maybe ask for 2 rounds of readings for a man who bothered to come here earlier. If you want to just read a couple pieces, and maybe I could ask you back again because I double plus love it. Please give it up for Mr. Michael Hoag. Come on over here.
Oh, thank you so much. I like the phone thing.
You know, because, you know, how many times do you hear stories where somebody's like deciding to scream at the top of their lungs and they're right next to you?
Yeah, I listen to those all the time. Oh, yeah.
Which is like, how many stories exactly? There's somebody talks
It's
about a
not rude.
gynecology exam because they're deciding to broadcast it to the world because they think nobody else is hearing. That's what that's all about. Exactly.
All right, I'll read 2 poems now. Both are a little long. If you don't see fish, add more fish. Fish like fish will stay below and sometimes surface, mostly all together, but sometimes apart, but only for yummy fish food. If you don't want rocks, drop them in a hole. Rocks like rocks and only come up slowly, sometimes in a lump, but mostly by themselves, and only when dirt allows. If you don't like your big eyes, close them. Close things like close things, and like to close together, because closing is soothing and as still as a paper napkin. If you don't have things with one and things with 2, combine them. Things like things and our partner, not put together. And when not together, get together. And when apart, break one into 2. And when far away, tumble and roll on their own axis. When turning is quiet and whispering multiplies. Oh, this one is about my wife and I. I like one thing and she likes another, so. Let me finish your knitting and you can borrow my baseball books. I'll only slip this one stitch to knit and always knit the next and never pass the slip stitch over the knitted or knit 2 through the back loop or let the trees knit or knit with worms or wet my fingers to get a better hold in the needle like Pud Galvin, who pitched the first perfect game on August 8, 1876. For the St. Louis White Stockings against the Cass Club of Detroit. It was Chicago'd 11-0, meaning they did not score any runs. But Gavin pitched 2 no-hit games that day, and 4 years later would pitch against Montgomery Ward's perfect game. On June 17, 1880, when few players wore gloves, and I won't wear gloves or substitute SSK for SKP, and I'll always keep my yarn clean and never forget to slip past knit, or look at water, or pile fish on fish to make a fish stack. And I promised and pledged to knit with firm fingers and a relaxed knit wrist, and always turn my hip and not my arm, and ever remember to show the batter my numbers, and push my nose into the catcher's mitt, and I'll never knit with my lead elbow, and always count 23 stitches to the needle, and never pass a batter like Pud Galvin, who walked batters to later pick them off on base. And I will honor and obey your yarn choice, and separate the peels from the fruit, and always wash the white chicken, and never freeze the ball. And my yarn career will last 19 years like Pud Galvin, with 365 career wins, the second highest behind Cy Young. And knitting will have a plaque, and Chicago will be a verb, and pitches will pitch in 2 perfect games and both as both the winner and the loser.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because you're so cool, I might call you back a little bit later. First things first, because I don't seem to have my money handy. I'm hoping that some big strapping man or something will do this. I happen to have this bag handed down from the likes of Charlie Newman. And that's what your life savings into, because our feature, Jackie Wolk, so deserves it. And yeah, and I'm going to have to put money in this later, so I'm going to pass it off to you first. Because I'm going to pass it this way. Wow. It's got nothing in it, so it's not even flying. And I don't know if my handy-dandy little sidekick Bob Rashkow wanted to read his own stuff and read stuff in the magazines or not. Your call, but I'm going to
do that on the second round.
Yeah, he'll do it up on the second round. So please give it up for the Bobster himself, Mr. Bob Rashkow.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Dave Gecic.
He's like, wait, before I go up, let me put money in there. I have to put my money in.
All right.
What's going on at 2020 North Oakley on September 12th, 2012? We have a few more people here. Here's a poem by Rory Jobst about Toshiro Mifune, one of his never-ending celebrity poems that he wrote for in conjunction with the Rorsky plays. Toshiro Mifune in Chicago for Stephen Gard. I ordered a slab of baby back ribs while doing a press tour for Grand Prix. It gave me a red beard. Some kids called me the barbecue devil because the spices burned their tongues. I leaned down to pet a stray dog who licked the barbecue sauce from my face. He sprung to life and smiled and skipped around a broken Bible, like a drunken angel full of ambrosia. Yet, all I felt was the continuous high and low of stomach acids. I tried to walk off my nausea by skipping like that angelic stray dog. I could hardly stand up straight, and my cheek pressed up against a massive storefront window. Through the window I spotted 7 samurai. At last! Some homegrown sparring to burn off this tender hog lounging in the throne of blood in my stomach. I walked in. 7 samurai? No. 13 judoka? Yes. Gasps of recognition? No. Gasps of disgust for my projectile vomiting on their dojo floor? Yes. Yes. I headed back to the hidden fortress the studio booked me into, the windowless suite. Not that it matters much. Maybe one day America will embrace a man whose charisma outweighs his broken English. Maybe even elect him to public office. Oh, for it to be 1941 in a pre-breakfast at Tiffany's era. Maybe I'll look over my lines, or just go to bed. After all, the bad sleep well. Thank you. This is my poem, and I wrote it, I was inspired to write it at Vito's Art Colony reading this past Saturday. It's called Fetcher Wants an L. But I gotta go back to the beginning. Here we go. Fetcher wants an L. I read the signs all my life. Green expressway signs, yellow and black street signs. I'm reading the signs still. There's an auto repair sign across the street. The Queen of Diamonds reads her story poems in the vestibule of a gallery near Elston and Belmont. Her magic words wash gently over me, drowning the chatter within in scents of lavender and jasmine. I breathe slowly in, out. I glance outside from my chair at the sign heralding the car shop. Something is missing from the street address, which is unnecessary these days anyway, since any business's location is easily retrievable on the Information Express. A letter is absent, left postmarked but undelivered. Still, it doesn't seem to matter. It fits the pattern. I view myself trying to appear relaxed as the handsome young slammer half listens in anticipation of the rest of his Saturday night. As a fetcher of ideas, of names, of signs, of words. Paint me a pretty picture. I will provide the caption. It doesn't have to be a New Yorker cartoon. It can be graffiti on the L. And Fletcher no longer misses its L. It's gone to join me on my magical search for the directions to that ideal, perfect vista. Thank you.
Thank you. Trying to scooch out of the way here. Thank you. Because these first three guys, I might call them up again for just a little bit more. So I'm going to ask. Actually, I think the last time I went to a open mic reading of Patrick Hurley's Ruffled Feathers, he'd be like, "Hey, let's have another round and stuff." So, exactly. So maybe I'll get the three of you to come up. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Patrick Hurley.
Excuse me, pardon me. Pardon. Pardon.
I know it's
Elbowing his way through the crowd.
nice.
All right. Awesome turnout. These poems I give you, words, expressions, emotions, feelings. They are free and can be dismissed, but they will exist nonetheless. Take them, leave them, they are yours. Movement of life. This life moves in ways we are unable to control, taking us through heaven and hell. You are there on the sofa, and I can't touch you. You laugh at a movie, but I see you crying inside. There was love, there was life. We created life, beautiful. We embodied love, and now it is spent. Now you struggle just to be my friend. This life, wrapped in past experience, past emotion, takes and takes every breath until the last. We are unable to control the outcome of our desires, of our longing. It is pointless and trivial, yet we breathe. We reach for tomorrow in hope that it will be stronger than today, that it will show us purpose, meaning, value. And each flight of the sun, flight of the moon, brings us more confirmation of our fragility. Your lips. For you, I wash my hands. I wash my face, rinse my mouth, remove the stench of my catharsis. Your lips are the reward. Our embrace shelters the cold of my bones. It is worth it because you don't request it. Thank you. This is from my 8th book, Screws Fall Out. I do have copies of several books.
Because those are the coolest with the
On
paperback.
recycled paperbacks.
That's awesome. So thank you very much. And because you're so cool, I'm going to call the three of you up, and I'm going to take somebody's glasses. Whose were they?
Oh, mine.
Oh, there it is. Right. Just want to make
try
sure.
it on, they won't.
Whose glasses were they?
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I didn't even notice.
I was going to say, that's because you've got such perfecto vision. No,
Yeah,
no.
right.
So, so I would say that I will, in that same order, call them up again. Michael Hoag, then Bob Rashkow, then Patrick Hurley. However, I first want to call up somebody we've probably heard just way too many times. So I'm looking forward to hearing whatever the man might have to say. Please give it up for Put That Breast King himself, Mr. Dave Gecic. Dave!
Get your groove on.
Get my groove on. Get my groove on. How does one get to their groove on, Bob? I've never been able to get my groove on.
I was making a pun out of your last name.
I can forget that.
Okay,
Get your groove on.
okay. But I'm here because Jackie Wolk is featured tonight.
Oh, you sweetheart.
I love Jackie Wolk.
I love you too, David.
She worked for me for a couple weeks in the early 90s. Like the first week of the 90s or something. And it's like I come in one day, Jackie's like supposed to be sweating away pricing books for me. And I come in one day and I had taped paper all over the windows. And I come in one day and there's cartoons covering every inch of the paper. It was pretty cool, but Jackie, you were supposed to be pricing books.
Yeah, you're right, I was.
Anyways, what should I read, Jackie?
Oh, geez.
Any requests?
Well, you know, I'm always going to have you read that one about the beast with purple goo.
Okay, I'll read The Beast of Purple Goo.
Thank you.
Okay, this is for Jackie. Wish your kid was here to hear this. I should write it out for you. You could read it to her. Way far down the sidewalk there lives the beast with purple hair. I did this in a Joffrey Stewart voice one time. It has big teeth and talons too. And I'm sure he'd like to eat up you. But don't be scared, it's very far. Too far for the Jewish car. But don't be scared. Me, of course, I went there twice, riding on some magic mice. These mice I mostly like, especially when cooked on ice. And these are mice you couldn't see. Pretty strange for a boy like me. But wait, I forgot about the purple beast. Man, he had a hearty feast of boys and girls and adults too, cooked up in a creamy stew. How did I escape, you ask? Well, I am smart and quick and fast. Just before I was to cook, I squeezed into a cranny nook. What's a cranny nook, you may ask? Well, finding one was quite a task. Just before I was to cook, I squeezed in the cranny nook, and the stupid beast, he still mistook my startling as that of mice, and so I thought, oh, how nice. So I crept up, and I hit him from behind. I was not being very kind. That is when at last I knew the beast he was made of purple goo. When I hit him on the head, he oozed onto the floor, quite dead. See, everyone had been too scared of the big sharp teeth he bared, that no one ever faced him strong. They couldn't keep their courage long. Then I freed my girls and guys. They thanked me with grateful sighs. One kid named Lou, why he was a gnome. So I let him leave the children home. Yes, that's a stupid rhyme, but I double-checked the beast was dead, so I went home and went to bed. That's
Yeah, thank you.
Late at night on the tracks, I stand on the third rail, turning my prayer wheel, waiting for the answer to the question from above. And I walk, a challenge to the gods. On this third rail, sparks flying from my footsteps. There's only one direction to go, one path to take on this electric knife edge. And I stand on this edge, waiting for the answer to so much life. See, if anyone touches me, if anyone makes a connection with me, we'll both die and we'll both fry, consumed by powers we cannot understand and that we can never control. This is called Self-Portraits. The fat kid always ate too much. In fact, he ate a whole big bunch. One day I think that he will burst if ulcers do not get him first. Love is such a strange thing in this world of ours. To have that connection, to even desire that connection with another, is something unnatural. I want to be a Siamese twin, connected at the hip, or sharing some vital organ with another, perhaps a heart. Now that would be a different experience. I want to be a Siamese twin, give myself a reason to be dependable, give someone a reason to be civil, be close to me and wake in the morning at my side. I want to be a Siamese twin. I don't care who stares anymore. A monster, malformed, deformed, and unnaturally happy. Thanks a lot.
That's what I get for having like hallways. What do we do? All right. Because I said I'm calling these three boys up again, I hope that a Senor Michael Hoag will come up and greet us with some more beautiful readings, please. Mr. Michael Hoag, you're not Did I say Mikhail? I if I didn't. Did I?
You said
Mikhail.
Was there someone Mikhail?
Oh, you know, I really wish I could memorize my poems. There's no way. I can't even memorize myself anymore. And I got 2 of them, so it's horrible.
And that's more confusing. If you had one, it'd be easier to remember.
No, that'd be worse for me. This poem, I mean, all my poems are true, but this one is really true. This happened to me. I read a poem at a job interview and didn't get hired. The owner asked me about my interests, so I stood up and talked about the cold frozen and the golden splinters and those feelings of avocado and my store of coral. I read a poem at a job interview. I didn't get hired, and as I stood up, the owner back fronted and made craters in the water and draped desks dry and red, orange, and yellowed and more things thought through. And those with fly eyes waved at those with oatmeal walls. And as I read the poem at the job interview and didn't get hired, the owner counted left messages and culled the old lonelies and mentioned in the mist and mentioned. And together we walked the land of pencils and pens and soaked our feet in honey and sulfur and ignored our sideways organs, not on the job, but beside the running whales. I was so nice when I read that poem, saying it was for a stupid way to job. He was very nice about it. He said, "Oh, that's a good poem."
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah, well, didn't even say that.
Oh, okay.
Just said no.
Oh.
All right. How to wake someone without making them scream. How to wake someone without making them scream. First, skin and quarter an avocado, then tear lettuce and cut a cabbage, bone a fish, hit a lemon, juice a stalk of celery. Do your work, work that keeps the heart going, the liver working, the kidneys running, and then go. And as you go, hoot, and hoot loud, because hooting is a lot like singing for someone never taught to sing. And singing eats and sleeps like something alive. And then arrive. And as you arrive, consider the beautiful air and the good-looking invisible and the seen hidden and the felt smells and the walls of quiet and the wonderful panic strong like paper and the amazing up that pulls like gum and the unnecessary feet as useless as 2 plows. And then put your hand on that shoulder until it moves to make room. I'll clean the plates and you empty the bowls, and I promise to use soap and flowing water and scrub without etching and dip, and I swear I'll rack. And I swear I'll dress front to back and button without making that noise and match. And I promise, promise, promise I will hang. And I promise I will make the daily icing and fold before froth and wet it with the wet ingredients here and dry ingredients there. And I will always drink from a glass, never ceramic. And I will so dry the wet dog. And I will always ever promise to always manage the milk. And I swear I'll have and forth the cabbage cake and always cup and bowl and crush and crumb. And I will never lower limbs or raise ridges on my thumb or splice squid or mismanage dirt. And I swear and promise to ever tree the moon. And I will always talk in a major key and rub oil and salt without cooking the sea and never trace letters or eat the sweet suet or puzzle and game or say ice or walk clean. And I will never again ever call cauliflower or detail my sideways organs. I promise and swear to so ever, always and ever and always, and never ever, never again, ever and ever be any never again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I have to do some PSAs for myself here. In case you guys haven't heard of this before, collection books were just released because I run a couple of literary magazines as well. One of them is Down in the Dirt, and it happens to have a collection book that's out that's called Purpose. It's actually named after one piece from it, which is really kind of cool. And CC&D because that's my one that I've had longer, and it had a lot of chapbooks, and I made 2 different versions of the mission. I made the Issues edition and the chapbooks edition. So we got writings from the likes of Bruce Mattson and other people that are actually right around here, but there are people from all around, so you can always check those out if you're interested. But, you know, as I said, that's all, you know, May to August, but the September issue of CCND is out, which I happened to pull a shot from Ground Zero from when I was there, which I thought was cool. There was this, everybody had an amazing respect when you walked around the mining way. I'm sorry, you know, because everybody wanted to go there and just be there, and it was fascinating. But I'm going to read a couple of these before I ask somebody to read something from Down in the Dirt, the other magazine. I think I might try to take that from you afterward and try to see if I can read any from there afterward. Who knows? But I'm just randomly picking the really short poems. Acceptance letters, I often say to people, hey, if you happen to have a really short poem, 10 lines or fewer, it might be read. So this is one of those cases. This is, I'm going to read a few. This is Fatal Attraction by Linda Webb Aceto. Cliffs chiseled in time, gunmetal rock breaks the sea. Wounded, it retreats. I wish I were stone. Pretty short with them. This one is called Jordan by Joseph Hart. I went into Denny's. Only Jordan working, desperate for coffee. He was very slow. Weary of the wait, I got up to leave. He hollered, "Are you leaving?" "You bet your ass I am." Today again, I saw him. I said, I got angry yesterday. He said, "I know." And I felt sorry. Later on, I spoke. He said to be more patient. Again, as I was leaving, I said, "Jordan." Quickly, his hand shut out. I shook it. This is really weird, just to try to bring things out to curious when I'm not familiar with them. This is by They Have Periods or Not, I. B. Rad. This is a piece called Truth. Truth is popularly portrayed as an intermediate shade of gray between 2 polar extremes, black and white. Yet truth is more often like shifting patterns of dark and light beneath a sunlit tree, its fluid limbs dancing in the wind. I don't know. Well, I've never read these. We'll see. I've got 2 on this page. What the hell I'm going to do? Harlan Richard wrote this one called The Corpse. I've read this before. Well, I have, but it's been a while. This is The Corpse. Thank you, Harlan. The officer rushed to my cell, sure that they would find a bleeding corpse, or at least someone injured and in distress. I laughed to think that I could have been that corpse, slightly annoyed that my ex-wife called the prison to warn of danger when there was none to be had. Yet, I recalled rumors of a contract on my life, wondered who would step up to collect the bounty, and how my ex-wife would have known. Thank you, Harlan. And a very probably depressing, I have no idea. This is by Stacy Lee, Leigh. Kind of like Janet Lee, who was killed in
Or Vivian Lee.
Yeah, there's...
Or
Anyway.
Mike Lee. No.
Anyway, this is a poem called Cut by Stacy Lee, and I'm ending it on this before I call my sidekick up here. This is Cut by Stacy Lee. Your words cut me like a knife. Apologies don't heal the wounds. Lying on the floor, drowning in your hate. My soul spills out. I can't breathe or speak. Just a shell. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Now I believe we might have only one from Down the Dirt magazine from my sidekick, Bob Rashkow. I'll have to see if there's any more of that. Give it up for Bob!
Thank you. From Scars Publications, September of 12, Down in the Dirt issue.
I want to say something. Stupid aside. When I create this, I want you to know that that sounds like my car. If John knows whenever I turn the car, I'm like, my car is going, oh, don't make me turn. Oh, not that. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. That's the sound of my car.
My car sounds like my record.
This is called Muse, and it's by Lucia M. Janavaras. What is it like knowing you have opened me from the inside, tapped deep, releasing an outpour captured only in craft, a form you can take away as your own, a souvenir embodying our journey?
Were you going to read something else?
No,
Oh,
not from you.
well.
Because I have two more poems by Laurie Joltz, and they're very short. This is called Captain Poetry, John Travolta, for Kathy Porter. I had a dream. You were flying a plane in a dress, bobbing your head to disco music with Nicolas Cage's face. Then Robin Williams yelled, "There's a bomb on the plane!" He was referring to a copy of Look Who's Talking Now, which still exploded and everybody died. I love you. And Rory wrote this one for Paul Carr, and it's Allen Ginsberg High Bun. I wish I could have met you. I first read Howl and listened to your iconic recording when I was a junior in high school, 1 year after you died. A late bloomer compared to the highly literate student body at Chicago Academy for the Arts. A few years earlier, I could have taken your class at Naropa. A few years earlier, I could have told you about how my father still performs your work at coffee houses. A few years earlier, I could have shared my wannabe howl with you. I would perform my free verse with vigor, drop fucks like deuces, and pat my own back for being so raw. Then you would hand me a newspaper, drive me to the country, and scream, "This is the world!" Maybe you would have offered me pot, but I would have politely declined, and you would have ruffled my hair. This is a high bun, a little bit of structure. I hope you approve. Thanks.
I'm coming.
You got the down in the dirt.
I've got it in my hand. I'm just all
All right.
scribbling. You
All
can
right.
sit. Where are we sitting? Okay. Let me hit the front of my car. I think it fit Todd to be like, oh, no, don't do that to me. Okay, I know I've read these before, but I haven't practiced or read any of these. But this, it's a really cool picture from New York of a building sign with the ads that are like so incredibly old, and when a building is torn down, something is exposed.
Is that the Flatiron?
No, this is not the Flatiron, but this is just one of the built. No, Flatiron wouldn't have all that stuff on it. No, but ads will just appear like that. And while it's there, I know somebody was taking lots of pictures. I'm like, hey, look at that. That's a cool shot. So I have no idea. Let's see how these go. This is a poem called Pursuit by Nicholas Viglietta. I think Viglietta. This is Pursuit. Can this pursuit be seen by others? A dead face, blind to the unsatisfying surroundings, mute, but while also being present to madness. Noises are washed away by the endless rolling of crazed images in a sea that seems to be a century long. Now, completely detached from the outside senses, I am free to dissolve into this pure, endless sea. Thank you. First start, you know, I don't practice reading this. This is called Metaphor by Travis Green. Metaphor is breathless until it crashes onto shore, captures seashells, releases with sharp language. Waiting in the distance, tasting the salty sand, I grew into the bitter man, full of bloody wine, pouring my toxic chemicals into anyone who defied me. There was always mystery behind my words, a compelling question of why. But all I could ever say was that I was inflamed, a scorned bitch, enforced to cause tragedy. Thank you. Now, if you read that one, I'm going to try to find people. I've got, you know, a lot of people are like regulars, and I'm trying not to include the regulars. Bill Wolak. I got 2 poems by him in here. Uh-oh. We'll see what these are like. This is called An Unsolved Murder, 61 CE. Oh, do I want to read that one? No, I'm looking at it, I'm like, talking about the city of Rome. I mean, well, no, I'm just trying to think of like, do we, all right, let me, Steingirder's ankles. Let's try that one. I just lost my card. Ugh. We're going to try Steingirder's ankles. Well, I was just like, trying to lift the spirits, see how that works. And I have no idea what this one's like either. Bill Wallach, Steingirder's ankles. According to the Norse sagas, the instant Cormacker glimpsed Steingirder's ankles, as she was standing behind a half-open door. He was captivated by their exquisite curving, and afterward, no other part of her body interested him. Thank you, Bill. Sorry. When it's been a while since I've read them, I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna leave it at that because, you know, I'm trying to get as many different people as in there as possible. This is from William Wright Harris, and this is called, I like the title, Man with Knife. Naked, pointed downward at an other, the blade jutting from the bottom of his closed fist, the other almost bent in supplication to a god that never heard Pollock crying into the New York night. Thank you. This is like, I feel like emotionally like, what do I do? What am I pulling off? This is very crazy doing all these.
Let me test a theory on you.
Uh-oh.
Would you say that poets are generally obsessed with death?
Man with a knife. Da, da, da. Well, let's see if this next poet in his second round will call up any of that. So please give it up for Mr. Patrick Hurley. Come on up here. By the way, if anybody wants to know or submit any rating, the CCND or John and George, come bug me for your email addresses because that's what I do too. Get on up here. Give it up for Patrick.
Patrick has a reading.
Patrick has a reading? What's going on? What?
Don't you have your open mic stuff?
No, the place closed down.
What place was this?
Roosters. Corner of Diversity and Kedzie. Yeah. And I'm not looking for another place aggressively. That one sort of fell in my hands, and maybe another one will fall in my hands in the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read some from my 5th book, Janet's favorite title, Pull Tabs and Other Things to Stick Your Fingers Through. First, there is waking up, realization of the new day, beauty or tragedy, not knowing. The sun is not shining yet. There is a bird on the ledge. First, There is coffee and more coffee with a chocolate chip scone. There's fog on the road this morning, more construction, always more construction. First, there is hearing sounds, indistinguishable sounds, then a brightness, then the outline of a face or shoulder or hip. It is raining on the road today. Windshield wipers are so inadequate. All is good if everyone keeps in their lane. Just keep in your lane until the rain subsides. First, there is a smile, with sleepy eyes above hair shading cheeks from sun, then the sensation of touch, fingertips soft on warm skin. Then there is holding, tight, tight enough to remain through the day. Then there are cries of realization, weaning anxiety. Letting go is part of love. First, there is coffee with a blueberry scone and stoplights, stop signs, brake lights, heavy traffic, rushing, rushing, always rushing. The rain has stopped. There is a mist on the highway this morning. Toll booths, correct change, and exit ramps. First, there is the scent of hair, followed by the scent of skin. There are legs entwined, palm flat from the small of a back. There is pulling closer and pulling closer still, readjusting bodies while readjusting lives. First, there is waking up. Late. Your icy fingers crash on my spirit, pulling me in deeper than I know how to go. I kiss your soft belly as I am forever washed away in you. I leave my impression in your soft sand. You hold it there, playfully tickling the edges, then erasing all in one fell swoop, one mad rush in. I give you flat stone offerings. They skip across your skin, joyful as a child returning home, and you take them in, gizzard stones in your belly. Late, you hold my dreams in your long curls, rolling the shared visions within you. You are broader than I can see and deeper than I want to go. Still, you pull me to your depths, holding me there until I am cold in you. You explode before me, exposing your jagged edges, thrusting your icy fingers through me, turning me around in you, spewing me on your shores, then laying me down beneath your soft waters, smoothing my soul. Late. Beat me with your waters, whip me with your tides, subtle and slow, chasing the moon's pull, wanting to be an ocean, reflecting every image before you, hot pink, soft fire, early morning sunrise, or shimmering diamonds on black velvet abyss of 2 a.m. darkness. I come into you, and you accept me without question, lifting me on your waves of joy. We ride each other through the storms. Late. Do not tell of your secret shipwrecks. So many crying on your shores have caused you to rise. You hold my tears in your body. You are full from so much weeping. You do not easily give up your dead. I am here for you now, late. Take me to your belly. Grind me with your stones. Never let me go. It has come to this, a change of seasons. It has wondering where the next. It has come to footfalls in unknown directions, this time when one must decide to decide. It has come to this, day-to-day creeping petty pace of tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Come to this, getting off the boat, going all the way, ready to face all the tigers in the jungle, to face the nights, bitter cold, the day's vanquishing sun, ready to walk, face exposed to the rain, accept moisture as a gift. It has come to this place where this voice within receives attention. It speaks now to come to where you've been, where you're going. It has come to this, a change of seasons. So that's from my 5th book. Copies of that.
Thank you. I have to say that although you're not looking, I feel very sad that Ruffle and Feathers isn't going on right now, because I enjoyed that.
Me too.
And I was able to do covers, and we were talking about what we need in life, where I sang what we need in life in Romanian and Dutch. Well, I didn't say it in Dutch, I sang it in German. I sang it Espanol, but anyway, it was very cool. And it's a shame, because I like the Flash. Is there anybody else that was, I didn't know if there was anybody back there that wanted to read anything. I'm giving a call out. Anybody? We've got a call, otherwise we're going to have a 5-minute break before phenomenal features. Anybody? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Deafening silence. All right, give it up for 5 minutes, and then we're going to have a phenomenal
Yay,
feature
5
from Miss
minutes.
Jenny. Yay!